Okay, Laomi, are you recording?
Yes, just
All
that.
right, thanks for that. Okay, so on this page, so this is your sprint page now. Everything you do within the sprint, every activity you do within the sprint is meant to be recorded here. And like I said, this page is meant mainly for the people that are actually doing the development work, which is the developer and the testers. Okay, they are the ones that put their task. That is what is called here. And I was using an example of, I don't want to pick any of your stories. I'm using an example of a story. Let's assume there's a team, a group like you are, and you're supposed to decorate the sitting room. So to decorate the sitting room, you'll need the plasterer, isn't it? To plaster the wall, the painter to paint the wall, the electrician to fix some things and all that. So on this board, you will have a story, a PBI, product backlog item, user story, still the same thing, that says decorate the sitting room. That's one of the story or work that has been assigned to that sprint. So the plasterer now would come to this page and click on the plus and create his own task. And his task is plaster. It might be the first one would be prepare the wall if he wants to break it up like that. And another task, he will create another one and say plaster the wall and leave it at that. The painter will come also and put his own task card there, paint the wall. If you look at the title of this page we're looking at, it says what? Task board. If you look at it at the header, it says task board. Is the task board is also your sprint board. Okay. And what is trying to do is each person that is going to work on that particular story are meant to come here and click on the plus sign, yeah, and write the title of the activity they are carrying out on that story. So over here now, your developer is gonna come, look at story 4455, that become an instructor, registered student would come on it, click on the plus sign, okay, and then be able to post their development or developing, okay, and then the testers will come. If on that story they need to carry out manual tests, if on that story they need to carry out automation tests, they are also going to click on the plus sign and put manual there and put automation there. Okay, so just for you to see how it looks, so that by the time you're coaching your testers, if I'm sure they must have been shown, but in case they've not been shown, it's your job as the scrum master and the administrator of the board to show them what they need to do. So what you need to do, so Vivian, I'm going to tell you to click on the plus sign beside become an instructor, the green plus sign in front of the story. No,
Yeah.
not that one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yes. Okay, so put development there. Just put developing or develop. Let's just put develop because that's the task is carrying out to that particular story. Okay, click out of it.
Here.
Just click outside the box. It would create it. Outside the box, come outside that little box. Okay, it's created now. Okay, so that is the task that the developer is going to do. Now you can see that on that you have unassigned. So the developer will click on that unassigned field and put its name there. So on the project out there, you have more than one developer. You can have 5 developers. You can have, yeah, 5, let's just say 4 to 5 developers. Okay, so that doesn't mean every story there that has develop on it is one person that will work on it, because I said there are 5. That is why they need to assign it. So anybody, Scrum Master, project, PO, and even all team members that are looking at a particular story, they would know the developer that is working on it. Do you understand? Okay, so Vivian, again, we will delete it, but just for this workshop purpose, if you click on that unassigned, okay, Emmanuel is in your team, isn't it?
Yes.
Put Emmanuel's name there. Let's assume Emmanuel is a developer now.
You mean here?
Yes.
Yeah, just
If you can't scroll,
search for my name. Do
just
Emmanuel.
start
Type
writing it to
Emmanuel.
bring it up, and then you can search for it. No, delete the unassigned. Have you seen it? Is there? So click on it. So let's assume Emmanuel is the developer on it now. So Emmanuel will assign that to his name. So anybody looking at it will know that, okay, this is Emmanuel that is going to work on it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you also trace beside Emmanuel, you will see a little box. Go on. Yeah, that square box. Just click on it. I'll tell you what that is. Okay. So when you were doing your sprint planning, you did the effort, isn't it? You estimated in effort. So your stories you estimate in effort or story point stay the same, but your task you estimate it in hours. So Emmanuel as a developer would look at this particular story and say, I think this is going to take me 3 hours to do. Okay. So you will pick the 3. So let's pick the 3 hours.
So that's awarding 3 story points to it.
No, not story point. Okay.
Hours.
That's the difference I want to say. On your user story, you estimate in story points. But on the task itself,
in hours,
you estimate in hours. Your task is saying that this is an activity that I need to do. This is a task that I need to do for that particular story as a developer. So you don't estimate that in story points, you estimate that in hours. So if if Emmanuel is working 8 hours for this organization, and he looks at that story and he looks at it and he said, okay, so this is gonna take me. Okay, so they've done the story points, like I said, which is the one you did during the estimation. He's coming here now to pick the task, and he's going to look at it and say, this is gonna take me roughly 12 hours to do. If when you were doing your capacity planning, per day estimation, your per day capacity for Emmanuel, when we're doing it, when you were calculating it, it happens to be, let me say, 4 hours. And Emmanuel is saying this task is going to take me 12 hours to do. How many days is Emmanuel going to work on that story?
3 days.
3 days. Do you understand now?
Yes.
So that's why the story itself, like I said, is estimated in story points, and we know the things that are involved with story points. Okay, so there's every possibility also that while Emmanuel is working on it, he thought it's going to take him the 12 hours to do it. While developing, he met with some complexities and things like that, and then he ended up using more than that. There is a way he can record his actual, his planned hours, and also his actual hours, which I think we didn't configure the Azure board too. There is a way you can record that, whereby you will be able to say, okay, so I planned to do 12 hours on this, but I ended up doing 15 hours, or I planned to do 12 hours, but at the end of the day, I actually spent less hours. I did 9 hours, or maybe 8 hours on it and all that. There is a way to capture that. But always remember that when you're putting those numbers for your story points and also for your task, you're doing an estimation, not an accurate, number. It's an estimation that, okay, it's going to take me, because it's a time you're putting down, a number you're putting down for something that you have to do. He hasn't done it yet. And that's why I said, once we configure into the task card, for you to be able to put your what is it called, your the actual and the estimated hours, then that would be recorded against that task. But this is what your developer is meant to do. This is also what your keyways are meant to do. So for the keyways now, just as we've done the develop, let's create another one for the same story. If you click the plus sign again.
Okay, so just before they jump into these parts, I don't want
Okay.
to forget, and I don't want us to go away from the point. So I hope they can see the 3 hours reflecting on the main ticket. There's a 3 hours reflecting on the main ticket.
Yeah, here.
Yes, by the time you add hours, it will start increasing, but that's not really what I
So
wanted
you
to
do
say.
know that 3 hours reflecting is not the story points you did during the
Yes,
estimation.
That's the task.
but really, what I wanted to remind you guys of wasn't really that. I know you get to tell them at the end of the day. Boss said he wants them to increase the number of fields on the tax board. So they need to configure and add more fields, all of them. So
Columns.
that's the two teams.
Oh,
We end up
for
not
the
really
sprint
doing
board,
that.
to create more columns on their sprint board.
No, to create, yeah, more fields on this screen, not columns now, fields on each of the tickets.
The task cards, okay.
Yes.
Is it the task card or just the what is it called?
Not on the board, on this tax, yes.
Okay, all right.
So you will also get it on config.
Okay.
All right.
Moji Bolu says she's not available from 10 tonight.
Okay. Okay. Then you guys might have to
So
go.
she said 6.
Because I didn't know what she wanted to do with you guys. I would have said I can stay to see what your sprint panel is all about, but I don't know what exactly she wanted to. Maybe she needed to look at the stories, the
she
BA
needs to
stories.
refine the stories
To
because
refine the
some of the
stories. So if she
stories,
needed
yeah,
to do
some
that,
of the
then
stories
that's
are
her
not
as the PO that needs to do that. I won't be able to do that with you guys. So it might be the tomorrow that she's saying then.
Yeah, I think she mentioned 6 or so.
Tomorrow, yeah. Just let's stick with that. I just thought maybe we could use the 1 hour today, so that's fine. Okay, so we will look at that. What Laomi just said about the task card. We will go there, but I just wanted you to see how the process works on this board quickly. Okay, so let's do manual testing on that one. Okay, so who do we have again here? Who is from Emerald here? Okay, Vivian, you want to give yourself that one?
If they didn't talk me, I even wanted to say put me.
So this people didn't add me in the first. What's my name?
You have to be there. What's your
Damina.
I'm not
Type
Damina.
Oh, you're not
I can't
Damina.
see my name didn't come up here, and I did send
that
my
means
email.
you've not been added to the project.
No, she is. Victoria is there. I can tell you.
No,
Right?
it's Vivian, not Victoria. You didn't
Oh,
add me.
sorry,
Whoever
Vivian.
didn't add my name, even though I sent my email.
No, Vivian is on it.
Put Queen V.
Put your email. Type your email.
Oh, you people are too smart, yeah. You didn't add my name.
Okay, do search. Click on the search. Type your email and then click on the search. You should bring it up.
Okay.
Okay, click on the search at the bottom. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Vivian, your upload is all to.
Okay.
Why won't it be?
Okay, so that's Vivian now as a manual, as a tester, and that's
I
the
know nothing
manual
about
testing task that you're going to carry out on it. So give it, estimate hours for it also. The little box, the square box, not there, not there. The square box in front of your name. No, up beside the name, yes. So let's give it a 2. Let's assume, okay, so manual test will do 2. Can you see the number you have on the story now? It has become what?
5.
5. So it's
5.
adding
Okay.
all the estimated hours of tasks that are going to be done on a particular story.
Yeah.
Can you see? Even at the top, can you see at to do? You have 5 hours at to do. Let's create another task and make that one automation. Let's assume this story is going to have an automation test done on it. So create another task and just put automation on that one. Okay, put your name again because you're the tester on it. Okay, let's make that one 3 hours. No, not ellipsis.
Sorry, I keep forgetting what it
That's
is.
fine, don't worry.
3 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see that the hours has become 8 on the story and also at the top of that column.
To do column, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move the developer's task to in progress. Okay, so let me explain. So when is in to do, when all your story on the sprint board is in to do, that you create it once you finish your sprint planning, your developer and your testers are meant to come on this board, assign the stories to themselves. They might decide to come together to agree to say, oh, I'll work on this, I'll work on this. That is them assigning it to themselves, being independent. Okay, nobody is forcing them to do something. Okay, because in Agile the team has to be independent, so they will come all together. All the testers can come together and say, okay, I'll pick that, I'll work on that. Okay, I'll pick that, I'll pick that, and everything, depending on the number of stories that are there, and depending on the number of developers and testers that you have. On this case, you have just one developer. But know that that is just for the internship purpose. When you get out there, you have more developers than testers. Okay, you might have 5 to 6 developers and just have 2 testers. Okay, so that has been created now, and that's when it's there. Okay, so on the main board, yeah, the moment your story moves from committed into in-depth on the main board, your developer is meant to here and move the story from to do into in progress.
So do
Okay,
I go to the main board now?
sorry,
Do I go to the main board?
no.
Okay.
Let's skip to this, but I'm just explaining so that you as pharmacists know how the process of how the board works. You know, we don't want to move it because they're not working yet. Even all these ones we created, we're going to delete them. And then there was another thing that happened the moment we started creating the task. If you look at the chart, there is a chart in the top right corner underneath where you have the A admin profile thing.
Yeah, the blue chart.
The blue chart. It started coming up after we started creating the task.
Okay.
So at times you've done what you need to do, you set up your burn down chart and everything. Once they start creating their task and everything, your story, your chart starts forming. Because you know I told you it's real time, starts forming up.
So is this the burn down chart?
Yeah, this is the burn down chart now.
Okay.
Yeah, because your burn down chart is on your sprints
And
board,
tracking the
shows on your
progress.
sprint board. If you go on analytics, you know we have analytics at the top now. That same thing you're seeing. If you go on analytics that you have on the header now, on this board, you will see it there.
Yeah, okay.
Click on that analytics. Yes, there.
Burn down trend. Okay.
So do you know why it's very tiny at the bottom here?
No.
I'll tell you. Why it's tiny there is you have a lot of capacity. You see that green dotted line that goes all the way to the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
That is your capacity line. So he's looking at the team's capacity, and it's just 8 hours of work that has been what? Created. So the more tasks are created, that blue tiny thing you're seeing at the bottom will keep on increasing. So it's looking that the team has committed to, they have the capacity of more than 500 hours. And out of that 500 hours, it's just 8 hours, isn't it?
Yes.
Just allocated to doing work. That is why you can see that very tiny at the bottom there compared to the capacity that your team has.
Here.
You see, so if you take your cursor to the top line, you will see what your capacity is. So it's saying that at yesterday when this was set up, your capacity was what?
528.
528. If you keep taking it down the days, you will see it reducing, and at the end of the sprint, it will come to 0. Because it is calculating what you've put on your capacity page is what is calculating. You know, on your capacity page, you have capacity per day. So he has calculated the whole team's capacity per day, added everything together to have that 500 plus hours that you have. And then by the time you start taking it down, he's looking at the capacity per day and reducing until it gets to the end.
So it's following the trend.
It's following the trend. What it's following the information that you fed the board. And because it's real time, it will keep, working that way as it goes down. Yeah, so that's your analytics. So let's go back to the task board. Okay, so on your task board now, I want you to move the developer story to in progress. Like I said, once the developer moves his own
How do you drag
two
it?
ways. You can drag it, and then you can open where you have states. Yes, you can drag it. Okay, something has happened. Who noticed what has happened?
The child.
The time reduced
The time has
and
reduced where?
or split. Let's say it's split
So
between
this
5 and 3.
Okay.
But the total is
So
still 8.
good. Initially at the first column, which is the to-do column, we have the total of 8 there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when we move the developer story to in progress, that 3 hours for that developer's task has moved to in progress. So the developer works on the story there. Once the developer has finished what they need to do, and they move their story from on the main board to dev done, they need to move their task also to done. So let's assume the developer has finished developing now. So move that developers to done. Good.
Okay,
So what did
so
we
it's
notice?
done. Yeah.
The 3 hours
Okay.
have disappeared.
Yes, the 3 hours is
The
gone.
3 hours has disappeared. Yeah.
It has disappeared on the task. It's not at the top of the done column. It has also disappeared from somewhere.
In progress.
From
Hmm?
the card, the task
From
board
The
card.
user
from the
story
ticket
itself.
itself. Yeah, the user
Yeah,
story.
because user story, remember, has 8 hours before. Now it has become 5 hours for the 2 tasks that are still pending to be done. So once the developer's task gets to done, that hours is what he's saying is used. It's done, isn't it? So that hours is used. That's what it's saying. Yeah. So that's how your stories are meant to move. When you do your daily stand-up, now that your sprint has started, any scrum master that is facilitating that sprint daily stand-up, you're meant to share your sprint and share and go to your sprint board. So you run your daily stand-up on your sprint board. The ones you've been doing all this while is so that you familiarize yourself to, oh, what do you say during the sprint, during the daily stand-up? That was why you started early. Now that you have your sprint starting, your daily stand-up, you run it on this page, on this sprint board, because that's when you are able to see what who is doing. Okay, so let's move the manual testing to in progress. Okay, so yesterday when we had a sprint, this is just a scenario. Yesterday when we had a sprint, we had the daily stand-up. Vivian's story, the manual testing story, was in progress, and this is so good because right now all the information that you're receiving or your team members are saying in line with what they've done, what you did yesterday, what you did today. Do you have any impediments? This helps you to structure to time, because now it won't be you won't be having stories like, oh, oh, it was very interesting yesterday, I enjoyed myself. All those are just comments. Okay, they are not updates about exactly what you've done. Yeah. So here right now, the developer at this meeting, the developer will be able to say, oh, I finished working on the become an instructor user story. As you can see, my task is done. I'm moving to another story. So if there's another story that the developer has started working on and is in progress, you'll be able to say, oh, so I'm working on the profile story right now. As you can see, it's in progress. I plan to finish that today. Right now I don't have any impediment. So they are now going to be giving updates based on what they are actually working on, which you can see. And that's why it's good to share your board for them to look at. So everyone is seeing the board, everybody is in the meeting and everybody is seeing the board, and they are giving you updates based on what they're doing, the developer and the testers. Okay, if you need, maybe there's an information you need your BAs also to give, to say, okay, you can now check, oh, BAs, how are we doing with, that's when you finish with the sprint board. you've gotten information, you've gotten updates. Let me stop calling it information. You've gotten updates from all the testers regarding the work that has been committed into sprint. And you want them to be able to give a timeline. Okay, so like I was saying, if I'm a developer, let's assume I'm Emmanuel now, and I've said, yeah, I finished working on the become an instructor story. I'm starting on the profile picture. As you can see, my task is in progress on that one. I intend to finish that today so that I can pick up by tomorrow. I should be able to pick up on the dashboard. What he has done is to tell you what he'll be doing today. He's giving you that he'll be able to finish it today, isn't it? And that he's going to start on dashboard tomorrow. Now, Scrum Masters, you have to be keen and very attentive during the meeting. You take your notes, not just the impediment alone, you take your notes. I take my notes on, especially I open my ears to timeline. Yeah, so that by the time we come tomorrow, Emmanuel has said he's working on profile, and I expect to see that profile task in done by the next daily stand-up, isn't it? Because that was what he said, that he will finish it yesterday, which is today, and that he's going to move to the dashboard next. And we're coming to the daily stand-up tomorrow now. And I notice Emmanuel's task for profile is still in progress. And then we're getting updates and all that. And then when is you won't say, oh, Emmanuel, but I thought you said you're going to finish that. You wait for him to give an update. He might have a reason why that story is still there, and he might be able to tell you. So he can be like, oh, I noticed that I said I was going to finish developing the story, the story, my profile task, but I couldn't because I met with some impediments. Okay, so what's the impediment? Oh, there was some complexity. There's this, there's that I wasn't able to do. If there's another developer or another tester on the team that is able to help Emmanuel, they can say, oh, let's meet after the meeting. And then I'll show you what you know. I know why you're having that issue. Let's meet after the meeting, and then I'll be able to help you and all that and everything. So that is sorted out. You just note that down again as a scrum master to say that, oh, Delphine promised to help Emmanuel to resolve that and everything. You're noting it down so that in case that is not resolved and everything and all that, you can just chase up on, oh, Delphine, how far have you been able to help? Or chase up on Emmanuel later on, not in that same meeting. Maybe you give it the whole day, or at the end of the day, oh, Emmanuel, just to check, has Delphine been able to help you to resolve that issue? Oh, yes, it's resolved and everything. You tick that off your and that's why you have your log, your impediments logbook document. So you tick that off. The owner of the impediment is Emmanuel. The person that is helping is Delphine. Has it been resolved? What day has it been resolved? It has been resolved. Comment resolved. That is out of it. Okay, you note that down. Yeah. So, but let's assume Emmanuel, we got to the meeting, and that profile story for the developer, we're still seeing it in progress. And Emmanuel is not making mention. Emmanuel is just saying, oh, I'm still working on the profile story. I intend to finish it today, and then I'll go to the dashboard and all that. And it kept quiet. You know, team members can be, I'm not saying they are, I'm saying they can be cunning. You also have to know how to be creative in, catching them on to say, it's not as if I didn't know what you've done. Okay. So once he says that, he said, oh, sorry, I thought yesterday you did say that you're going to finish the profile um, story, your profile task and everything. Say, oh, yes, I did. Oh, sorry. Is there any impediment? So you won't say, oh, so why didn't you finish it? You just use the impediment as if you resolve impediments. It's, oh, is there any impediment? Is there any reason why you didn't that wasn't done? Was it that you have an impediment and all that? And then he will give you a reason. Or you might say, oh, sorry, I got caught up with something else and everything, and that's why I wasn't able to do it. Sorry about that. I'll make sure I finish that today. Or it could be that he had actually finished it. He didn't come back to the sprint board in order to move his task along. So you can say, oh, sorry, I actually have finished it. I just forgot to come back to my board in order to move the task along. So you would tell him, okay, so Emmanuel, are you on your system? Do you want to move that? Why I initially, let me give you my experience. Initially, when we come to the daily stand-up, I might notice that my team members were not moving their tasks. They've done the job, but they didn't move their tasks. I'll always say that, oh, okay, so is it okay for me to help you to move it? So I wouldn't move it without asking them. So I would say, is it okay for me to help you to move it to John? He say, oh, yeah, please help me to do that. So, and then I now notice a pattern where others also will say, oh, yeah, help me to move that. So now they are not self-managing. They are waiting to say that, they've had it at the back of their mind that, oh, when we get to the meeting, I'll tell Muji can just move it and everything because she always moves it. So it gets to once it got to that stage and all that, I would tell them, okay, so if you're on your system, can you please move it? They say, oh, just help me to move it. I say, okay, so I've been doing that. It's becoming a pattern. I need you to learn to do it yourself because they need to self-manage. So they say, okay, all right, that's fine. I'll do it. I'm not on my system now, but I'll do it. But at the place of work, you would be on your system anyway. And that's why most of the meetings is better for them to be on the system that they can move it on. I understand that here people have to go to work and all that. So most meetings they are joining on their phone and everything. So if you notice they've not moved it, you've told them, okay, so please once you log on your laptop, make sure you move that story on and your task on and all that. It's okay, yeah, fine, that's good. I will do it. Note it. If you can't note it on your head because you have a lot of things thinking about and all that, have a little book that you have like the Bible as a Scrum Master and just note it. They put the dates there and note it there. Emmanuel to move his tasks to done. Okay, and then you're coming back, let's say just check within the next 4 hours because you have to keep on monitoring the board constantly to make sure that what you've discussed that they're supposed to do, they're doing it, they're working the way they're supposed to work, because then you're improving your team's performance. And then you come back after 4 hours, you notice that Emmanuel has not moved that thing that I said. Just go on your communication platform, which is Telegram, and then tag him, not everyone, because he's the one specifically that owns that. Hi, Emmanuel, you tag him. Just a gentle reminder that you've not moved that task. Could you please do it? Maybe before we meet and everything and all that, or just thanks for your hard work. Just a gentle reminder that you move it that task along. I noticed it's not been done. Thanks for your hard work. I can say thanks for your hard work as no man's business. It motivates your team. Okay, and then it doesn't sound as if you're giving them command. It sounds as if you're supporting them and you're encouraging them and you're being there for them. You're guiding them. Okay, and then that they move that along. Okay, so that's how, as a Scrum Master, you work with your sprint board, and those are the information your board your project board is always talking to you. It's always talking to every member of the team, but mainly to you, the owner, not the owner, the one helping them, guiding them through the process. Okay, so that, because the funny thing is, if they finish what they need to do and they don't move their story along as they're supposed to move their story along, your bond down, or your chart, not just your bond down chart alone, will not be reading properly, because the work is being done, isn't it? But it's not reflecting on the board properly the way it should be reflecting. And the bond down would only follow what is on the board. It's not psychic enough to know that, oh, this person has done what they need to do. So they need to be able to do it. I always use the example of the old times when you're in the office, you have an in tray and an out tray. So if you're working on a story and that story is in your in tray, which means, oh, I'm working on it right now, and you finished working on it and you mistakenly leave it in your in tray. Meanwhile, somebody else is meant to pick it when it's in your out tray to work on it. The person sees it in your in tray, is still thinking, oh, Vivian is still working on it, so I won't come to it and everything. I will leave it there. And then after a while, the manager comes out and say, oh, guys, where is that file and everything? And then Vivian is thinking, oh, I finished my part on it about 2 days ago and everything, but you didn't move it along. So the next person that is meant to pick it is not picking it because doesn't know that you finished working on it. That applies to both your sprint board and also your main board. So if the developer finished working on a particular story, left it in in-dev, didn't move it to dev done, yeah, the tester won't know the developer has finished working on it and won't be able to pick it up. So your developer puts the story in dev when they're working on it, puts their task in progress. Once they finish their task, they put their task to done, and then they move the story to dev done. So they don't move the story to in QA, they leave it in dev done. And then the tester who has been assigned to that particular story will see it in dev done, will pick it up from dev done, put it in QA, come to this sprint board, move their task to in progress, and start working on it. Now, the tester has two tasks to work on that particular story. It has the manual test to do on it if there is automation to be done. Also has an automation to do on it. So when the tester starts and does the manual testing on it, finish the manual testing on it, move the manual task card to done, okay? It can't move the story on the main board to done yet because he hasn't finished his work on it, has he?
No, it's in
No,
progress.
he still has one task to do. So that story still remain in QA, even though one part of it is completed. Then he does the automation on it. And once he's finished the automation, once he's working on once he's finished the manual test and he's taking that to done, he's moving the automation from to do into in progress. Once he finished that and he moves that to done, and then he moves that story from in QA to QA done. Once the story is in QA done, if it is in your team's agreement that the BA is the one that does the UAT, so your PO might delegate the BA to be the one to do the carry out the UAT responsibility. Your UAT means user acceptance test, and what they do with that test is to make sure that everything they've written in the acceptance criteria is in line with what has been developed on the website. If they notice that there's an acceptance criteria that is not in sync or in line with what is on the website, they go into a column. There is a column inside your story. So Vivian, if you open one of those stories of the user story,
This one?
any one of them, just open any one of them. I want to show you where they put their comments or where they meant to put their comment. No.
Oh.
Don't create another task.
Double click on it.
The story itself, the
Just
title of
become an
the title. Click on it, yes. Okay, so if you scroll down, okay, so you see where you okay. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry because we don't have any discussion. That's why it's not giving you the option. You can see where you have discussion on your left, the left side. Can you see
Discussion.
after where you have add admission and then add additional information? There's a box
Oh,
under
here.
Click on it. Just click on it. We won't write anything in it.
I
Just
don't, so click here.
yes. No, not the discussion. There's a
Oh.
box. Click on the discussion again to open up the box. Okay, so go to the box underneath it. Aha, that's where they're able to put information. So if the BA feels, oh, this is not in line with what we've done, it looks at the tester that has carried out the test on it. Some return it to the tester, some return it to the developer. So it depends on how the BA wants to look at it. So it can return it back to the developer and then it tags. By the time it does acts, the names will be able to come out. So if you do acts now, you will see that it will bring up the name of your team members. Type acts. Yeah, you see? And then
Okay.
it's able to put the name of the developer there. And what that does is it sends an email to the developer to say that there's a discussion waiting for you, and the developer is able to come back here. So 2 ways that you can do it. You would put the art, pick the developer's name, and it says, I noticed that acceptance criteria has not been, created. Or can you please comment? Or can you please have a look at it and everything? And then he's able
So
also.
why do you pick it here?
Sorry?
Is it here that you click?
No, you just click the
Click
name.
the
Once you
name.
click the name now, it comes into that box. Try it. Click on Emmanuel's name. You see? It's come there. The same way you do it on the Telegram information. And then it's able to put information to say, you can put comma. I noticed that the additional information for this and this to be there is not on the website. And
Okay.
it shares a screenshot of the website with that particular information or acceptance criteria that has not been put there. Is able to put a screenshot there for the developer to see. And then the developer will pick it up, work on it. And then once that has been done, it returns it back to the tester. The tester has to test it. So the developer, once it's done, the BA would pick that story and return it back into the in dev so that the developer can work on it. Actually, the tester should have been able to pick that thing, isn't it? That particular thing that wasn't developed, because it's part of their testing when they're doing the quality control. That's what their test is all about. They're supposed to have been able to pick that. They didn't pick it. That's why I said 2 ways that the BA during UAT can return it. they can return it back to the tester to say that you carried out the test on this, but this particular part is not there. And then the tester now can either create a bug to the developer or return the whole story, depending on what your team charter, your development process is, or your work process is, and then return it back, to the developer, so that the developer can work on that particular aspect that is not on it, or give a reason why he or she has not developed that particular aspect to it, and then they can meet maybe during the daily stand-up to give updates to iron that part out if possible and all that. Okay, so that's why they do UAT. So the BA, once the BA does the UAT, let's assume everything is fine with the UAT, there's no issue and everything and all that. Then the BA finishes the UAT and put it in UAT done. Once it's in UAT done, again, depending on your team charter and your agreement, you can decide that, oh, BA, once you finish UAT, once you finish the UAT and you put it in UAT done, just take the story to done, to the, to complete it, which is the last done column. You can be that if that is what is in your team charter, okay, that's the team's agreement. Or you can tell them, just leave it in UAT done. As a Scrum Master, you want to check that everything is done, because there's every possibility, okay, that your tester, this is just a scenario that why you need to check at times on the user story before it gets to done. Okay, so if there's every possibility that your what is it called, your tester, let's assume now they're the ones that have two tasks on it. They've carried out the manual test, they've carried out the automation, they didn't move their task as they should. Maybe you missed it during daily stand up, or that particular process was carried out between the daily stand up for yesterday and the daily stand up for today, or after the daily stand up for today. Okay, that's when that process of work gets done and the UAT was done, maybe before you meet the next day for the next daily stand up and all that. If you allow the BAs to take the story to the last done, your BA is not checking, oh, as the developer moves their story to the right column, as the QAs move their story to the right column. That's not their responsibility. Their responsibility at UAT is just to carry out UAT. The person that is checking if the stories have been moved, the task cards or the user story has been moved accordingly, is who? You, because you are the one guiding the process. And as a result, at times, I as a Scrum Master, my opinion again, check to make sure all the tasks on a particular story have been moved to done accordingly before I take that particular story to done. If you don't do that, if you take that story to done and there is a particular task card on it which is in progress or in to do, you are not sure if that thing has actually been done or not. So let's assume now that there's a story, the BA has finished the UAT on it, they put it in UAT done. You want to take it as a Scrum Master to done. You notice that 2 out of the 3 tasks on it has been done, 1 has not been done. You open it, you check which one, you notice it is automation. Again, you want to check with the tester that has worked on it, the QA that has worked on it. Oh, I noticed the automation story is still in progress. Has it been completed or is it pending? That person will be able to confirm, oh, I finished it, I forgot. It was because I forgot to move it and everything and all that. And then, like I said again, one-off moving for them is fine. When it becomes a pattern, you want to stop doing it and encourage them to do it so that they can self-manage. Okay? All right, do we have any question?
No,
so
it's
far?
become confused. It's become more complex.
Sorry?
I tell you, it's become more complex. All the explanation.
But you know, the funny thing is, by the time you start doing it, you will realize it's not
You know,
complex.
the role of a Scrum Master to me is quite complex because you're cutting across the whole team. It's like you're doing somebody else's job they're paid to do for them.
That's why you're there.
That's how I
you take some
see
of your
it.
responsibility. It says to guide my team, to
Yeah, but it
support
means
my
like
team.
they're being spoon-fed, isn't it?
You're not for spoon feeding them. You're showing them the process. That's why you're a master.
But they should know the process.
No,
Everyone within the team should know
would
their role.
get to that role by your help. That's why you have developing team and you have a developed team. Even a developed team once in a while still needs your guidance. Even a high performing team let me tell you what happens with developers and testers when they get so focused and into what they're doing, the testing they're doing and everything, the code they're doing, refactoring code, doing this and that and everything. They are experts in their own profession also, you understand? So they
Yeah.
get so how will I put it, they get so involved, so focused on it, that they forget to follow the process the way it should be followed. And that's why you're there. And what you're doing, like I said, is you're guiding them. And when you notice that, okay, so these people, they've gotten so into what they're doing, they've forgotten some of the processes and all that. That's why at intervals you would organize workshops, which are coaching. You will put it in place because you've monitored the way they are working. That okay, we're not working the way Scrum says we should work. We're not working the agile way now. We're forgetting the mindset, and we're just doing things the way we want and everything and all that. So you won't call people out to say, "Oh, you're not following things the way you're supposed to do." You
No.
put it with one or two, and then you're going to put a coaching session in place in order to help them to remember.
God help us.
I know, Scrum Masters, you work a lot. A lot of people think so they don't work, they're just there and everything, but you do work because your team has to follow the process. And that's the part of Agile that talks about continuous improvement. That's what you're doing. You're helping your team to continuously improve and get better as the work. Any other question?
Yes, I have a question, please.
Okay.
My question is in relation to continuous improvement on status update by developers. What will you say now is the best practice in order to have this constant update without interrupting the Gantt chart? For example, is it to say, for example, during the daily stand-up, the Scrum Master can give something like 1 minute for each developers to update their status? One say that would be a good option.
I didn't get that, Delphine. Sorry.
Okay. My question I'm asking is in relation to continuous improvement of the team and
Okay.
as well as self-managing their things themselves, where you don't get to a situation where you do it from them. Can one say, in order to be on a constant flow of updates and in relation to the proper way our burn down chart is supposed to be, is it possible for the Scrum Master to try to introduce the habit whereby during their daily stand-up, whether he or she is there as a Scrum Master or not, they can give themselves 1 or 2 minutes to update their work status?
Yeah, that's what they do during the Scrum, their daily stand-up, isn't it? That's what your
Yes.
team members do during this daily stand-up. They come to that meeting and they are giving that update themselves that, okay, that was why I was talking earlier on that this is the particular story I'm working on right now. If they have more than one to work on, this is the particular story I'm working on right now. And this is where I am. I'm in progress on it. And I should be able to finish it at the end of today. So they are giving you status concerning, they're giving you an update concerning that particular story they're working on. So that's what they do during the daily stand-up. You're just there to facilitate the meeting.
Okay.
You're the one sharing your screen, you're the one putting your screen at the sprint, what is it called? Board, and then they can see their name there. So anyone that is there can say, okay, so I'm working on it gets to a stage where you know who is talking, you know each other, and you know he's talking. Right now, you know I'm the one talking because there's a yellow, line thing with my name showing. So you won't say once somebody starts talking, you won't be able to say so who is talking now and everything. Okay, so you didn't say Delphine is the one talking when you were talking right now, and I was able to pick that you were the one talking, not because I know everybody's voice, so to say, but I'm able to look at my screen, and the yellow line going over anyone talking makes me know that you're the one that is talking, yeah. And then you give your updates Vivian also comes and gives their update. If there is need for clarity to the updates that are given, you're able to say it. If you're giving your updates and maybe there's something that if you're working on, let's assume you're working on the automation, and on the automation framework you're having an issue and all that, you can say, oh, I started the automation yesterday, but I've not been able to complete it because I'm having this the issue on it. If there's another experienced team member, do you understand, who is able to help you resolve that particular issue that that person is having during automation, that person, maybe Daniel is able to say, oh, okay, Delphine, let's meet later, I'll show you what needs to be done and everything. I know what you need to do and all that. And you just note that down so that it doesn't, that help or assistance that Daniel has promised to give to Delphine is not forgotten. Is when you chat Delphine one-on-one later on, maybe at the end of the day. Oh, Delphine, have you been able to resolve that issue? Oh yes, Daniel has helped me to resolve it. So that story, I've completed it now. Da, 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 da. That's you just checking that things are done so that you don't come to the next daily stand-up and you're going back to the same thing again. So that's just you guiding the team through. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's
Yeah.
what your daily stand-up does. That's why the daily stand-up has to happen every single day, so that you have a good workflow and you get updates. Everybody gets the updates, have a shared update. So it's not just the developer and the testers alone that come to daily stand-up to talk. If there's any new development from the stakeholders that is PO, the product owner feels that, oh, I need to share with the team, they join that meeting also. They're always there anyway, in case there's anything update they need to get also and take back to the stakeholders. They come also to say, oh, there's a new story, new requirement that the stakeholder wants us to take in. Team, what do you feel? It takes priority over everything we're working on, and the team discuss and collaborate on it. Are we taking it into the sprint? If we're taking it into the sprint, Scrum Master, you need to negotiate with the product owner to say, oh, this is an 8-pointer, 8-story point. If we're taking it in, do we have another 8-story point that needs to go out in order for us to accommodate this because of our capacity? We can't take in more than we've committed to. Who's going to work on that thing? That person doesn't have the capacity to be able to do that. So we might reduce what is in sprint. That is if that story takes priority over every other thing we're working on. If you check as a Scrum Master with the PO to say, oh, sorry, PO, does this story take priority over everything? Oh, no. And the other things in, they take priority. I just want us to take it in. We're negotiating. Is it possible for us to add it to the next sprint? And she said, oh, no, because POs don't like you telling them they can't do what you've told them to do. Some are open-minded, but some will is to look to them as if you're telling them they can't do it. And please don't tell them. We just say, we just want to know, but not because we're looking at the capacity and what has been committed to the sprint, so that the team members are not distracted. Can we finish this and take that into the new sprint? They can say, okay, yeah, fine, let's do it that way. If he says no, you need to take it in and all that, you let them know that, okay, we don't have the capacity to accommodate this. Is there any other story with less priority to this particular story, but with the same equal story point that we can take out in order for us to accommodate this? Okay, so that's where your negotiating skills come into play, and that can happen during the thing during the daily stand-up. Again, if that story is going to be something you're going to deliberate on, take it to the parking lot. Don't let it disturb the update for that particular daily stand-up. So you can tell the PO that can we discuss this after the daily stand-up? You can just take some few minutes. That's the maybe extra few minutes that you want to use to take that into the parking lot in order to be able to resolve the particular issue. So those updates, you get them daily, so that work is flowing. There's no stopper, there's no showstopper that is stopping the flow of work, or a team member, because they didn't come to the daily stand-up, and then when you meet up with them later and say, oh, I couldn't do this because of this reason. We've always had daily stand-up every day. You should have brought that up. That should have been resolved so that the work is flowing smoothly.
Yeah, can I ask, Moji, I've had
Yeah.
I think it was in one of the Telegram chats where it was said that a Scrum Master can help to write user story. Is that, I don't feel that's the responsibility of a Scrum Master. Why would a Scrum Master write a user story if the BA
Okay, so
available?
I'll tell you why. That's why you're cross-functional. And I'll tell you, and let me give you an example. I'm going to use myself as an example.
Mhm.
So we had a team, and we're working with a team. We had a BA working in the team, and I think it was close to the release of the product. So they were doing the user guide. Some of them were doing the user guide. They shared themselves, and some were writing the stories. Okay, because they called me. They said I'm nosy. That's what some of my team members call me. I go to all their meetings. If the BAs are meeting, I've checked, I've done what I need to do, I've monitored the board, everything is working. And I noticed on the Telegram platform and everything, said, oh, BAs, please let's meet and look at I will join that meeting. I will join, I will see what they're doing. So I've been doing that. I know how they write the story, the giving when then, everything. I know how to do it because I've been watching them and I've also been practicing and all that. Okay. So I knew that and everything. So there was one of the BAs that had an emergency. She was relocating, so there was no way. Actually, she went to meet management to say that okay, so because I'm relocating and everything and all that, I might need to drop out and all that and everything. And because she dropped out at that particular sprint, the other BAs could not take up her work to do. Yeah, they couldn't take up her work to do because they had their own work that they're doing also. I got my hands dirty and I wrote that story. I wrote it. I wrote all the story and everything, and I now called we always have a lead BA and everything. I called the lead BA. I said, "Oh, stories that couldn't," because she had about, I think, about 2 or 3 stories to write for the next sprint. I said, "I've written the stories and all that, but because I'm not a BA, can you please check just to make few correction tweaks there and there and everything?" And I told him, I said, "When you're checking, can you check in a meeting so that I'm aware that I've done the right thing?" That this is just me adding to my skills now. Do you understand? So on my CV, it's there that I write stories. And I went for a job interview and all that. And the guy that was interviewing me said, "Oh, I noticed that you said you write stories and everything and all that." I said, "Yes." And I used the example that I've just used and everything and all that. That is an extra for you that somebody else who is on the same interview might not be able to do. And to the organization, that is an addition for them. So they're looking at a situation that if we have an emergency and there is no BA to work and everything, we have a Scrum Master that can jump on. Do you understand? And work. So it's not as if it is a must that you must do it, but it's good to learn it. We have
Okay.
Scrum Masters that can test also, can do manual tests. That's another level that I want to get to now, to be able to do manual tests, because it's just an addition to your own
Yeah.
skill that can help you at an interview.
All right. Thank you.
So do we have any other questions?
Yes, please. I just wanted to ask if there's like a manual to go through this thing step by step at once, except you listen to the
Recording.
recording. Because
A
I
manual
tried
step by step to do what?
to navigate this Azure DevOps as a Scrum Master, to be able to know what to do at each point in time.
At each point in time.
Yes.
Number one, there is no manual, but I can teach you one very easy way that you can do it.
Okay.
Should I?
Yes, go ahead.
Create a personal Azure DevOps.
I've created one, but I don't know what to do with it.
Okay, so now you've seen what you've been doing on this one. Once you create it, Vivian, if in a week, set a week for yourself, personal one. That was what I did.
How do you create? Is it on this Citadel on Blue Sky?
No, you can't create it on Blue Sky.
Your
So
own.
you go to Azure website itself and create an organization for yourself. So you are the owner of that organization. And
I've created 2 projects on mine, but I don't know what to do with them.
Okay, so if you want to create it, let me give you another advice. Don't create it on the same browser that the Blue Sky one is.
Okay.
So if your Blue Sky one is on Chrome, create your personal one on Firefox, or create your personal one on Edge. Let it be separate so that you don't keep having, login or sign in issue, because Microsoft can be a bit, temperamental. So what you can do, I know Vivian, you said you don't know what you can do with it. There's something you can do.
I've just created 2 projects, that's all.
Okay, create a project and make it house chores. Let that be the title of the project.
The what?
housework.
Housework, okay.
Mhm. And then make it a one week sprint
Okay.
and create stories. Yeah, go to the market is one story. Cook is one story. Do this is another story. Turn your Azure DevOps to your personal one, yeah, to your diary. And once you finish that house, that work, that your personal work that you need to do, move it along, move it along, move it along. It helps you to understand what the features and what you need to do on Azure, and then it will help you to know how to monitor your own your project board, because you've created a personal one. That was what I did. I created a personal one and I turned it to my diary. I created one for that. Even the my children's homework, I created another project and I put it as boys' homework.
Okay.
And I start so that I can get the more you use it, the more you get used to it, the more you understand what it is, the more you understand each of the features, and you're able to work with it. Okay, allow me, you have your hands up quickly before I call Martha.
Okay, thank you.
No, I already asked my question.
Sorry?
I already asked my question.
Oh, okay. It was because I saw your hand still raised. Laomi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was the guitar. Okay.
Yeah,
Kage.
I'm here. What is it? Oh, sorry.
I know I saw your hands raised. That was why I thought
Oh,
you
it has
had
been raised
something.
since forever. When
It
I
must
told
have
you
been,
about
oh
the
dear
columns
Lord,
that
it
I
must
said you
have
should
been
add to
hurting.
the field.
Okay, Deji.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to ask if you guys still need more minutes, actually, because I think we are finishing 5 minutes. I know
I
the
think,
DA.
yeah. I think
The
we're
DA.
done because we're just in the
Yeah, done.
question and answer session.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I think we'll just, maybe, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want to close the rooms, right?
Okay.
Because the DAs are still going to be in session, right?
Okay.
So when you guys finish, just kind of leave the room.
Leave and come back to the main room.
Yeah, to the main.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. Thanks, Deji.
Okay. All right, thanks. Sir.
All right, before we leave, any other questions, or is everybody okay? Or do we still have any questions?
Can I stop the recording?
Yes, please. Allow me. Thanks.